you doing? Here we are in Phoenix, September 2007, September 20th, and I know that because I get a day sheet put under my door every day to tell me where we are and what day it is. Hard to believe that 3 days ago we were in San Francisco, played San Francisco, drove 1,100 miles to Albuquerque, played there last night, drove 500 miles, and here we are in Phoenix for a show tonight. So just sort of getting warm here because there's 22 hours in the day to kill. So I just have a pair of sticks, a practice pad, gotta have a nice computer, iPod, music, you gotta have that going on, and of course the largest suitcase allowed by law. That goes with me wherever I go. So we're gonna go over to the gig, show you around there, and just have a little slice of what's going on there here at the Phoenix show. So we'll see you in a little bit. This is my wardrobe closet. Stage clothes, various accoutrements. Had to use that word. Drumsticks to warm up and play on my little warm-up station here. We get done with the show, we take our clothes off, we hang them up here, and then they're dry cleaned and they magically come back the next day all fresh and ready for us. This is really as exciting as it gets back here. People always seem to want to get backstage, but you know they're expecting some sort of big parties or partiers running down the hallway. It's just really sort of 5 sweaty guys eating. So it's not really very exciting. So this is it. Here's the dressing room, and let's go have a look at the drums. Right up here. There you go. There's the stage. Watch your step.
We have a film crew here.
This is Paul Carrizzo, my drum tech. He's been with me for coming up on 6 years now. He takes care of the drums here and makes sure everything's in tip-top shape. And he's the Michael Jordan of techs. I never have to check the drums, ever. He tunes them precisely the way I want them, and he takes great care of me, and I think the world of him.
Right now I'm sharpening knives.
Wait, and why are you doing that? We don't need it. To kill me.
You never know.
Let's have a look at the drums. So the Pearl Masterworks that have been on the road with me since 2001. They have over 1,000 shows on them, and they're going to be retired next month when the new kit comes in. Okay, so we're behind the drums right now. If you can see over here, got one stick bag full of stuff, another stick bag here, another one down here, and another one over here. So if I lose a stick, I can reach somewhere and grab a stick at all times. But yeah, these drums have 1,000 shows on them, and this is going to become our B rig. We have 2 identical rigs, so if we have a show in Florida and then the next night a show in Seattle, the B rig will be there. And this whole set cart rolls on stage from where we are right now. Which the crew does. They do a changeover in less than 20 minutes. The other band stuff off, our stuff on. So our crew is really, really amazing, and we couldn't do what we do without them. All right, so here we are backstage. I pulled this out of the dressing rooms. I often take my practice situation away from the other guys so they don't go crazy hearing tappy tap tap all the time. And I'm using 3M active strips on my digits to keep any blisters from occurring. And the argument could be made that some people say that, well, if you have proper technique, you won't have blisters. I don't think that's the case, because when you're playing a long rock show, where you're swinging from here, friction will happen. So there's a Lycra spandex in these that's really nice. And come on in, mate.
Thank you.
It's all right. So you'll see the little tape job that I do to protect myself. you have it. It seems a ridiculous notion to some. People ask me why not wear gloves. I don't like the feel or the look of the gloves, and this works for me. The stuff's really tacky and it helps grip the sticks, and it bends easily with the fingers, so it feels very natural, like I don't have these things on at all, and it just works for me. So let's go warm up a little bit for the gig. So here we are in the copy room, which is the only sort of quiet place where no one was in this venue to do this, to warm up. So I often will take myself out of the dressing room so I don't drive everyone crazy with any incessant playing. But I have an old 60s Sonar pancake shell that I bought from Explorers Percussion in Kansas City, and I have a pearl muffle head on there, and you see it looks like a truck has run over this, and so the head's pulling out a little bit, so no other head will ever be able to be on this drum once this comes off. But I like this as a warm-up pad because it feels like a drum, and it's fairly quiet, so it's certainly quieter than a rubber pad. So I've used this to warm up with on all shows for the last 7 years. And I warm up, I stretch, I do this one, a lot of you know this one. Yeah. And it gets these muscles going on in here. Shaking it out like that, like this, and adding some extra weight. I'm going to break the copy machine here in a second. There's a rock show going on here, so lots of people. And then just kind of start with simple hand-to-hand things. A lot of these we've gone over already. Working hand-to-hand, keeping things symmetrical, going for evenness. And if I'm playing some triplety thing, I won't forget about the feet, and I can hand-foot combinations. I'm going a little fast for just starting to warm up. All right, let's get out of the copy room. It's really hot here. It's almost time to play a show. Hey, Joe, that's a mighty carrot you got there.
Try that instead.
Can I be in your film? Yes. Phil Collin, everyone.
So what are we doing?
I'd rather I wasn't, but you know, if I have to be.
Do you agree to be in this movie?
Yeah, why not? Absolutely.
What's up, Doc?
Gentlemen, we're heading
I thought you want to watch it because he'll take more Jack. Now you've given him the what? Just open the door.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Right. I'm sure that
Pat Zuckerman, in my humble opinion, the best drummer in rock and roll. One man's opinion, and I think a good one.
I'll take care of you later. Thank you. All right, well, my ears are in. I can't hear really anything until I get plugged in over there. So let's get ready to take the stage then.
good crowd.
Don't look at Keith's hair. God damn.
know. If we only had an X2, I'd be able to get some sleep. No. Oh, George, we'll edit that part out. Take two. It is a little New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc in here that I hide in a solo cup. It works better in a glass, but, you know, then I have to take a glass.
Who are you? Oh, George!
Who do you think I am? All right, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed the little slice of a day in the life here. Hopping on the bus to go to Las Vegas, then Los Angeles, and I hope you've had fun. So, thanks for hanging out with me today. Later. Come on in. Hi, welcome to my little soundproof drum room in the backyard. I can come out here and play at midnight, not disturb my wife, not disturb the neighbors, and I'll show you around here. You can put your old high school and college furniture to good use as drum storage here for all sorts of stuff. Microphones, percussion instruments, old record albums, books, your old copies of Modern Drum or whatever, percussion instruments. That was my first sonar set when I was 10 years old. I got that white one. And this DW Timeless Timber kit was a gift from Dean Castronovo from Journey at the end of a tour. So thank you, Dean. And this is the main drum set here, the Pearl Masterworks. I slaved off the 20-inch bass drum with a pedal over there, and I hoisted the extra 22-inch drum up in the gong position. And there's a few extra little wingdings, see the Pearl quarter tom octobans, 3 snare drums, the factory metal percussion hi-hat on a cable hat, and the Sabian chopper and bell off to the side, just for some fun colors to experiment with at home. The two biggest sound leaks in a soundproofed room are the doors, or any vents, or an air conditioning unit. And this is a split duct air conditioning unit which has a little hose that goes to an apparatus that's outside of the structure. And you want it to be cool in here, you're playing, you've got to cool down. And also you need some fresh air coming in so you don't end up being in an airtight room and you end up passing out. That's no good. This is the recording rig that's been sort of a long time in the making. It's been sitting there hooked up and unused and unlearned for the last few months because when I come home for 3 days, the last thing I really want to do is sit with a manual. But I'm excited to have it, and it will be up and running very, very soon. This is the snare wall over here, which has a lot of different snare drums from different makers and different artisan craftsmen. I don't play golf, I sort of collect drums, that's my hobby. And even though I'm fiercely loyal to Pearl, my drum company, and I always use their drums live and in the studio, these are drums that I've collected and I've befriended different snare drum makers. And I just like being able to pull out the different colors and getting a different vibe and a feel from all the different drums. I mean, there's drums here from Pete Stanbridge, John Aldridge, Patrick Haddad, Exotic, Ayat, Joyous Lake, Danette, drum solo, Tempest, Canopus Alcova, Longo, some Ludwigs over there, a couple sonars, an old Leedy Broadway from 1937, some CNCs, abalones, and I just love having the drums. I always like the feeling of walking into a drum shop as a kid, and I like being surrounded by all the drums, and it inspires me when I'm in here, practicing. If I'm not inspired to play in this room, then I'm mental. I learned how to play on this drum set. This was my father's 1969 Slingerland kit, and the original logo head with all sorts of Chicago winters and drinks and gook and Lord knows what. My father never had cases. He would just throw the drums in the trunk of his big car, so they just rattle around in there. So kind of gives them a nicked up charm, but it's the original bottom heads on the 2 toms, and it's just one of my prized possessions. It sounds great like a smoky old jazz club, and it's just really an incredible thing to have. This is the drum set I used on the 1997 Styx tour, which was the 20th anniversary of the Grand Illusion album. It's a Sonar Signature Series Special Edition that I bought from one of my best friends, Chris Marcos. And I have it set up. It's a lovely kit, and it still sounds good for an old vintage Sonar. Well, all right. Thanks for coming over, and I hope you had fun with the drum room tour. Cheers.
Quick tip.
Here's a quick tip for you. Everyone stop arguing online. I can't see a clip of a movie or a comedian or a musician on YouTube without reading posts below about how this guy sucks or this guy's so much better. You're arguing about art. You're arguing about something that's subjective. If it's a musician and a guy does it for you, that's great. If he doesn't do it for you, don't listen, don't watch, change the channel, walk away. End of story. But don't argue about it, it's taste. I mean, is Robert De Niro better than Al Pacino? Is Monet better than Picasso? Is a Big Mac tastier than a Cajun spiced ribeye from Morton's Steakhouse? It's pretty simple when you talk it through. It's just taste. So everyone stop arguing and just enjoy the art. It'll be a better world if you do. And that's a quick tip for you.
Opinionated quick tip.
Got to break it down, try to hear the sound of that distant beating. Can you take it? Can you make it to the center of your heart? You'll awaken, you'll be shaken to the center of your heart. When did we get disconnected? Did you think it was my call? When did I get elected to be the bad guy and take the fall? Is it yours or mine? Let's erase the fault line, 'cause the time is ticking. Can you take it? Can you make it to the center of your heart? You'll awaken, you'll be shaken wash my feet. Let the water soothe my burning skin. Peel away and help me start again. Keep the embers breathing. I can't take rejection. Keep the saints from leaving. Help me heal this infection. Time and again, it's you that I waited for, but you left me out here in the cold, left me all alone. New Year's Eve, you come and you go. The only thing new is the fresh fallen snow. New Year's Eve, it's high time you go. You promised me, but you never showed. You shone as you moved through the fair, a glowing jewel. But I, from afar, simply stare, like I always do. All of the build-up and all of the dreams disappear in the midnight beneath all the screams. Burst on a rise like a whispering wind, and nothing has changed, and it all starts again. The dreams that we had are over, it seems. Wish me well. Time and time we say we're gonna try to start again, but we could not, and we do not. Baby, what you say is time to say amen. We gave it all we got. Wish me well and hold me. Wish me well and let me go. The dreams that we had are over, it seems.
All right, this is the song Anything by Taylor Mills from the Lullaby record. Gonna bring it in here with the E-anda motif that'll happen 3 times. Here it comes.
There's a hazy moon in an October sky.
Setting up this little tribal groove that works with the guitar motif and the bass.
Hanging out to dry.
Real casual, real easy, like walking down the street. Not a care in the world.
Dragging my camel.
Flicking the ashes in the breeze. We'll drink of water with that crash cymbal with the cool chord changes.
Get the hell out of here.
Back to the tribal groove. Now we're going to build it up to the first chorus, where we're bringing some metal.
The only thing I
Ride cymbal and tambourine. Snares back off.
think
tribal groove. Tambourine goes away, it's a shaker. The same vibe as the intro, but a little more gusto. Neat little fill here, and then suck it back down. Trying to shape it with the hills and valleys dynamically. Now bringing in some other sound sources for a little interesting. A little drink of water here with a crash. Same thing, building it up here to chorus number 2. Snares pop on. Still having some toms there, so it's like the tribal groove. Sucks back to the tribal groove's scene change. Double chorus. Snares pop back on again. Still keep honoring the toms. Now, 4. 2 and 4. Played through there. The bridge, its own vibe. The floor toms on the 2 and 4. Got the shaker, cowbell, and the bell of the cymbal. Building some intensity, but it's going to fall off here. Still keeping motion though. The E and a motif. And in the solo here, take little liberties. Bells and roughs. Gonna build it up, snares pop back on. Gonna honor the little guitar motif on the 1E. The cymbal. Again, 1E. Alright, now pretty much full throttle in for the last chorus here, the big emotional moment of the song. Whole pattern put together with the ride cymbal playing the bell. Alright, big roundhouse coming up here. Here's the pinnacle moment. Gonna bring it back down again. Just like the intro of the E and a motif. The character of the song's really dejected here. There's a kind of melancholy here, and then the song's going to end very dejected, just like flicking a cigarette in the breeze. Right there. And that's anything from the Taylor Mills record. All right, here's Center of Your Heart from the Taylor Mills record. Gonna come in here, some delicate hi-hats into the first verse. Just hi-hat, bass drum, nice and easy. Almost doing a quasi delay with the 16th notes on the hi-hat. Introduce the snare. We're going to build it into the chorus. A little offbeat snare here. Tension. Now flam roll into the chorus. A lot of crashes on beat 2 with a snare drum. Kind of a motif fill here. We're going to bring it back down into the verse. Nice and easy. Slow and steady. Like walking in the park. Little flavor from the roll there. Trying to keep it interesting. Here's the motif fill that was in the first chorus. Building up with the hi-hat, energy, crash. Second chorus. Hi-hats open up a little bit more. A little more syncopated with the fill and right here. Alright, gonna go into the bridge, just gonna chill out a little bit, thinking Phil Collins on this fill. Alright, so we got the ride cymbal, back and forth between the cross stick. Some motion. Big fill build up here. Gonna swing these 6 rolls a little bit. Okay, we're in the guitar solo, ride cymbal. Getting the left hand involved with some hi-hats. Big fill contrapuntal to the guitar line. Some fancy flams, but it wasn't really getting in the way of anything. Really big and emotional right now. Just gonna go for snare drum here. Always works. Crash. Gonna drop the bomb on beat 2 here. Alright, now we're in the emotional ride out of the song. A little more syncopated. It's built up to this. Lots of cymbals. And riding that puppy into the sunset. And that was the shape of Center of Your Heart. Okay, here's Consolation Prize from the Taylor Mills record, Lulla Goodbye. There's 2 basic scene changes in this piece. Gonna come in aggressively here. Open hi-hats. Accentuating the riff. Now here's a fill. That'll happen 3 times. Each one will be a build. The verse, nice and dreamy on the flat ride with the rattler, the auxiliary snare drum. Lots of presses and little buzzes. Changing up the pattern so it's not just one thing over and over. Nice and organic. Into the pre-chorus. Building tension. Half open hi-hats. The regular snare drum. Alright, building up. Forzando, and then Tommy gun. Full crashing on the ride cymbal. Now back to the hats for the intro feel. Back to the ride, very aggressive part of the song, this first chorus. Here's that fill figure again. Flams, up the ante there. Alright, a little relief after all the rocking to go back to this oceanic, dreamy, floaty section. All the musicians can take a little liberties here in this musical interlude, keeping it interesting. Crash, like those crashes on 2 in the holes. Again, 1, crash. Works well with the vocals. Fancy snare work there. Snuck in. Alright, same thing here. Building tension. Pre-chorus, just like the first time around, doing it again. Paying attention to the riffs here with the other musicians. And forzando, bam. Launch it into the chorus. Full throttle, aggressive. Back to the hats. Just like in the verse, or rather the intro. Different fill. Alright, now we got this fill figure coming up again. That's the 3rd time here. We're going to bring in the toms, which introduces us to this feel, the bridge. This only happens once in this quasi-samba. The buzzes on the left hand. And the floor tom like a surdo drum, giving it its own unique flavor. Nice and easy here into the kick. Building up with the guitar. Flams for texture. Bass comes in, bass drum pumps. Now we're going to really add some special sauce here. Keeping the groove, quarter note solid. Now we're going to go to quarter notes on the hats, a little Zeppelin style. A little extra attitude at the very end of the song. Eighth notes now into the kick. Alright, here's the end of the song, so you turn it on, little double bass drums with this, and Tommy guns spray the room. And that's the hills and valleys of Consolation Prize. Okay, a few more fill ideas, and this is really more of a tribute section in a way, but I'm going to look at some fills that were sort of made famous by other drummers that are really associated with the drummers who, well, you'll see like the Steve Gadd Rademachew lick. You pull that out and it's like, that's the Gadd Rademachew thing. But maybe there's occasionally things that you could do, you put your own little spin on it. But I'm sure a lot of you know this lick, but for those of you that don't, it's... Bass drum can be in the 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or not. You can start messing around with. Again, adding various triplet conjunctions. 6 rolls, kind of Gadd-esque. Triplets. Reverse the orchestration. And I also added a couple Gadd-type triplets. Like, there's a lot of right-left or 2 hands, 1 bass drum triplets. Kind of the classic, sort of Bonham triplets or snares on the 1. Even though Steve Gadd can put him wherever he wants, but I think of Gadd playing the bass drum on the 1 and the sticking being. And then there's a Tony Williams, where the bass drum's in the middle triplet. Or it could be on the 1s. It's a different sound and it's a different articulation. So it's nice to be able to have all these in your bag, pull them out if needed, even just for a second, to pay homage to Tony, Bonham, or Gadd. And there's 2 other licks that so many people know that Dave Weckl made them really famous, so I guess they're Weckalian sort of licks. But these are both 9-note figures. can be used really nicely if you just... And you can orchestrate them a different way. Or put 3 bass drums at the end. And then the other Wacalian figure would be I heard someone call it the 9. And then you can kind of mix them up. Not always the most musical thing altogether, but here you have all these triplety, sextuplety things that you could string together and compose to your own accord. And again, I stress, have fun with them. There you go. So go out and have fun. Get out of here. Seriously, get out of here. We're done. My father was a drummer, an active drummer from the 1930s to the 1970s, and he put himself through medical school in the early 40s playing drums. And he was one of the house drummers at the Chez Paris in Chicago, which is kind of like almost like the, I don't know, the Cotton Club of Chicago, where he played with just countless acts that came through town, the likes of Sophie Tucker, Lena Horne, Sammy Davis Jr., Liberace, Joey Lewis. And doing all sorts of variety shows and radio dance programs, and lived on very little sleep for a long time because he was gigging at night and then he had a successful practice in the day. And he was all about time and swinging. He wasn't a master technician, although he had the sweetest buzz roll I've ever heard anyone play, even to this day. But he was in the early 60s, he was a band leader of a show and met my mother, who was in the show, who's a singer, actress, and he was 20 years her senior, and met and fell in love, and had 3 boys, myself being the youngest. My oldest brother Paul gravitated towards the piano immediately. My other brother Joel played bass, and when I was an infant, I just was always in love with the drums. I couldn't wait for my father to come home because I knew the drums were in the car, and I just wanted to look at them and be around them. And I never wanted to be. I always knew I wanted to play the drums. I never wanted to be a fireman or an astronaut or a baseball player. I just always knew that this is what I wanted to do. So I never had that fork in the road choice of what do I want to do with my life. So it's kind of a nice thing to have that sort of figured out for me cosmically. But my brothers and I, played under the tutelage of our parents, and it was a great supportive musical household to grow up. There was always music in the house, coming out of different rooms, whether it was Count Basie or Led Zeppelin or the Beatles or Mozart. There was always, it was just music, and my older brother sort of paved the way. Well, I did my first paying gig with them when I was 6 years old. And we actually started to work. We started to gig around town. And they also paved the way in junior high for me. I was brought in when I was in first grade to the junior high symphonic band and jazz band. So I hold the dubious honor of spending 8 years in the junior high school band, a record still unbroken. And the same thing in high school, that went to high school and met some of the top players there, and met a whole bunch of other musicians older than them, and I was always sort of brought into that circle and the different various circles of musicians. So we were always playing music. And went to high school, had a great symphonic orchestra, jazz band program, marching band, competitive drumline. And during the summers, my brothers and I worked at a resort in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, kind of old Catskills, type of resort, 6 nights a week. Different comedians and magicians, and all these guys had charts, and some of them were from the 1940s and 50s. So it was a cool connection to what my father did, was reading these old charts for these 70-year-old comedians that were vaudevillian style almost. It was one of the last bastions of shows like that, really, in the 80s. After that, I went to Berklee College of Music in Boston for 1 year, studied with Skip Hayden and Ian Froman, who were both brilliant, very different from each other, and studied privately with Gary Chafee. Then I ran out of money and went back home to Chicago to try and tackle the scene there and get involved in the recording scene, which was a very tough thing to infiltrate, but thankfully I did. So when I was working a lot in Chicago, it really gave me a great connection with my father, because I was taking every gig that I could. I was playing weddings, corporate parties, the jazz clubs, rock clubs, everything. I was just working all the time, and there were a couple musicians I worked with that were in the recording scene, which was mostly jingles, for the most part. And they recommended me, stuck their necks out for me, and over time I was doing 20, 30 sessions a month, which was fantastic. And it was a very exciting time to be in my early 20s, always on the go, day and night, driving around town, and always working. And that's all I ever wanted to be, was a working musician. I feel so fortunate to be in this band. I had no idea that 12 years later I would still be here. I saw the band 3 times as a kid growing up, and I was in bands that played some Styx music in the repertoire. So to end up in the band years later is just, I couldn't possibly author that, and if it goes to show you that anything can happen if you're open to it, because I was doing a lot of sessions in Chicago, a guy Keith Marks, who handled my cartage, handled my gear for sessions, had worked with Styx in the past and a couple of the members on their solo projects, and he had recommended me to them in, I want to say March of '95, to re-record the song Lady for the A&M Greatest Hits compilation CD. And their original drummer, John Panazzo, was in ill health and was not able to play at that time. So I went into ghost drum for John. So I played on that uncredited. And then in, I think, February of '96, they called me again to record a new song that was going to be on their Greatest Hits Volume 2 CD. And it was about 2 days after that they called me and they offered me the job of playing drums for the summer tour in 1996. With the provision that if John Panazzo got better, the gig is really his. And ultimately, John didn't get better. He passed away in the middle of that first tour. So I've sort of been here ever since. But I didn't think that it would last. I thought it would be one tour and that was it. But we went out again in 1997. There's a little hiatus. I moved to Los Angeles and got involved in other projects and sessions, and I was doing the Brian Wilson thing in late '98, early '99. And then Styx picked up again when James Young and Tommy Shaw wanted to move on without Dennis DeYoung, which caused a bit of a civil war in the fandom of the band, which is a very strange thing to see. But I'm a musician, and I think there's no use in sitting at home when you've spent years and years honing your craft and working on something. Get out and play. That's what you do. So consequently, we've been doing 125 shows a year for the last 8 years in a row. I've gone to Europe, gone to Japan, and this band can really do whatever it wants to now. And I feel really fortunate being in a band that plays as well and sings as well as they do. They're all fantastic. And I'm several years, their junior, and the energy and the professionalism and musicianship these guys show every night is astounding to me. There's never a bad show, which is incredible to say. I mean, some shows are better than others, but there's never a bad show. There's never a night where we didn't make it happen on stage, and that we didn't get the crowd response that we normally get. It's really incredible. I mean, this band has sold 40 million records, the first band in history to have 4 triple platinum records in a row, and you know, I've played every venue from the largest arenas to, you know, small House of Blues type places, and it makes me wonder how many, you know, current bands will be able to do that 30 years from now. But we're truly a band of brothers, and it's been an amazing ride, and I think that it can continue as long as everybody wants to do this. When I got in the band, it was an interesting thing because I was replacing an original member when all the other members that were from, you know, the glory days were there. And you know, everyone sort of, I'd hear stories about John Panazzo, about him being the funniest person who ever lived. And I imagine that's maybe how Kenny Jones felt replacing Keith Moon in The Who. There's all of a sudden this personality that's not there. So that was the toughest thing for me, was to get in and groove with these other guys as, you know, as human beings, you know. And John was a very interesting drummer. He was a very active drummer for having, you know, sort of limited technique, and it's no disrespect. He was a very unique drummer. So they were really interesting templates for me to approach, trying to, you know, tip my hat to the original flavor, keeping things the same flavor, but maybe updating, hippening up some things here and there, a little denser figures, and trying to bring my own thing to the table, but while still honoring what was there before me. Because they're famous songs. I'm not going to go in there and change the feel or change certain key fills. It's part of the parts of the song. So that was one of the most important things to me when I first got in there with those guys. Working with Brian Wilson will always be one of the highlights of. I could go on and have a long, illustrious career, but my time working with Brian will always be special and magical. I mean, he's a modern-day Mozart, and the body of work that he's given to the world is really, really tremendous. I first worked with Brian in 1998 after I'd moved to Los Angeles. I was called back to Chicago, where Brian was working in Chicago at that time, and did 2 songs on the Imagination record, and got asked to do two legs of a tour in early '99, and we had a month of rehearsals, and it's where I got together with Taylor Mills, who is one of the singers in the band, and we fell in love and had this incredible romance with, you know, the soundtrack being Brian's beautiful music, which was beyond enchanting and magical, and did 2 legs of a tour, and then that's when Styx picked up again in late summer of '99. So I left the Brian Wilson band, you know, to go with my regular gig, and they brought in Jim Hines to play drums with Brian, who was just going to be the sub until we were done, and I would get back to that. But we haven't stopped. Styx hasn't stopped. So I did get to play on his Getting In Over My Head record from 2003. I did 12 of 13 tracks on that one, and that featured appearances by Paul McCartney, Eric Clapton, Elton John, and I mean, that was just beyond a thrill to record with those, but to have music where I'm playing with these gentlemen who are heroes of mine. And consequently, that same year, we had Brian come in and sing on the Cyclorama record, the Styx record, which is a thrill for all of us. And Brian is just the sweetest soul. It's hard to describe him. He's beyond gifted, and Taylor has been singing with Brian for 9 years now. So I'm still sort of an honorary band member, I think. But that'll always be a highlight for me on my time with Brian. Taylor and I started the Lullaby record in '05, working with Scott Bennett as a co-producer. He and I produced it. And Scotty's in the Brian Wilson band, and he and I have a history going back to Chicago. We've done 1,000 sessions together, and we're in the band of Falling Melinda's together. And we picked songs that were really meaningful and songs that Taylor would shine on. Because she has this sultry, she's all heart and soul with her voice. There's no vocal pyrotechnics. It's all meat. And we worked on it for 2.5 years because of our crazy touring schedules. And then we moved to Austin, Texas in the middle of the record, which didn't expedite the project. So we were flying back to Los Angeles to work with Scott. Plane rides, rental cars, hotels. So it was a massive labor of love. You know, another one of the highlights of the record was having Brian Wilson sing on the tracks Raven and Cradle Me, and having Tommy Shaw come in and sing on Genie in a Bottle. So to have them lend their talents to this record was just really the icing on the cake for me. I think we exceeded our expectations for this record, and I know for me it's really much closer to who I am as a musician and as a player, and the type of music that I like. I don't know if there's a better example, and it's one of the records that I'm most proud of personally, and I'm so proud of my wife Taylor. She just really knocked it out of the park on every track. So that's been a recent highlight for me.
Not getting me down because it's all about fun, people. Okay. Odd times, take one. Top. Let's go to the top. And it's dry. Top. Let's go to the top. And it's dry. Playing demo. Why do you hate me so much? Playing demo. Playing demo. My crazy.
Like, he's right here.
One, 2, 3, sound check 4, 5, 6, sound check 7, 8, 9, getting faster to 10, 11. What's wrong with me? How did he die? It'd be great if Nathan's plane just crashed into my head, killing me instantly. I'm sure we could. Oh, I'd be on YouTube. It'd be free. It'd be like, look at the guy dying, this dumb guy. Is the hi-hat bit. Playing demo. Playing demo. Playing demo. Playing demo. I playing. Hi, why come? Together about the song Together, Together. And when we get to the tail spit. It's about fun. Take 2 or 3. 3? 2's fine. I am a urine factory. Da 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 da. Yeah, jungle boogie. Hi, Todd Zuckerman here. That's hi was too hyped. Hi. All right, take 1. Because you looked like this, like you ate a lemon. For all the years of support and friendship. Nice way to end. Frankenstein this one.
All right. Just take two whenever you
My tongue feels like a paper towel. Playing demo. Playing demo. The producers asked them regarding my abilities. I hit that. I had to scratch. I had to itch.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I was doing multiple. Burn on them. And it gets a and everybody. I'll do it again. And it gets this really nice. Can you all sing that with me? 3, 4. Well done, crew. Mark that one down. Let's go to the drums and make some music with us because I'm tired of sitting here. My back hurts. My crew wants a beverage. I tell you what, it's time to take this stuff to the drums, okay? There's nothing like a Claude Monet cup of coffee. Todd never has a second cup at home. We've replaced all the water in the Atlantic Ocean with Folgers crystals. Let's see if they notice.
You want me to take your coffee?
I married my own beverage holder.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
You're crazy.
No, you're crazy! Fans are off, lights are off. Things are happening around here. The unexpected. Hello, drum buds. Hello, everyone. Hello, drum buds. Thank you for coming. Because without you, I'd be playing into an empty room. Okay. Play that figure. This is I've digressed into something else.
Okay.
Bug. Got him, and we need a Kleenex or another hand there. Thank you. Kill the bug. Meow, meow. So when you learn a paradiddle, bug. That was a bug. No, you have some fun. No, you have some fun. Because that's one thing that's I just can't go right, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left. 4 singles. Oh, beer. Sweet liquor eases the pain. I've heard the expression cheese. That doesn't make any sense.
Clear the frame.
Thank you. Do you want to know how to play the Swiss Army triplets? Do you want to know the Swiss Army triplets? Well, I'll show you the Swiss Army triplets then. And then doing it Swiss Army style. And then you're doing it. No, I need that. I need that. Flam 5s. I wasn't expecting that to happen. And that's a quick tip for you. Hello? Answer your telephone. Hello? Answer your telephone.
Quick tap. Put it on vibrate.
Here's a quick tip when you're filming. Turn your phone off.
Quick tap.
Turn your snares off if you would. Do not use the permanent Loctite. That's permanent. I said Loctite. Here's a quick tip for you. Put a little tiny drop of blue Loctite in your lug casings. It'll... No! I was trying to improv. Here's a quick tip for you. To keep your drums in tune, put a little tiny drop of blue Loctite in the lug casings. Your heads won't detune during the show, and very...
angry quick trip! This next solo piece is based around a 2-bar motif that begins the solo. I'll improvise on that riff within the Take 4, 5, 9. And there'll be a quick moment of superimposed metric modulation. Metric modulation. Buffy, get me another highball. Okay, bringing the solo to a close because my chair made a sound. That wasn't right. I've been playing drums so long, even my voice rattles like a snare drum. The one with everything song.
The one with everything going.
Everyone wants to know about One with Everything. This next song is called One with Everything from Styx's Cyclorama record. Rama. Insert jazz kit clip. And we're coming back soon. Groove than the regular paradiddle, if I'm blunt. If you can take one idea and come up with 10 things with it, then hopefully you get 100 ideas, come up with 10 things, and you have, I don't know, my math is horrible, 1,000, 10,000, something like that. It's an even number. You could... Silence! Seriously, get out of here, we're done.